All right, guys, I'm right outside the town office pirate ship, criminal cartel, and requested more body-worn camera evidence from my co-worker, Alex Dunton, November 25th, FOIA request, 3:30 on Pleasant Street, 2+ hours in cuffs, driving without a license, arrested by Nathan Day, body-worn camera evidence. Alex is a co-worker. He claims Officer Day opens his wallet. There's just enough money to bail out, taking all his cash. Alex claims his hands were permanently injured by tight handcuffs. At the end of the 2 hours in cuffs, his hand turned blue. Compartmental syndrome. That's permanent injuries. No medical attention was given. I consider this a high crime. Tortured my friend. In custody. I will forward this email to higher authority. These lying road pirates have yet to produce any body-worn camera evidence, right? This is the same playbook that I've dealt with for 5 years, right? If it's excessive use of force, we'll never see it before the statute of limitations is up that you could sue them for, right? The town is lying. They can too provide this evidence. They could provide it today, right? Film the beautiful catching the emu scene with WatchGuard camera system information timestamp in picture given to Channel 13 News 1 day after they caught the emu. Oh, public relations. Check it out. That is a stab right in my heart. Evil, lying corporations withholding the truth. FOA 18 USC 2071. Federal crime. Custodians to willfully conceal, mutilate, or falsify public records. Libertarians for transparent government versus New Jersey State Police. NJ 2019. Andrew Quagmire versus Northwestern DA's Office, Mass. 2023-2024. Binding precedent that they must provide body-worn camera system information, right? We all saw last year the aircraft crashed in California and 2 officers in a hero move rushed over with their body-worn cameras running, right? Right? To save the occupants of the aircraft that crashed. Dragged them out. That was on the news 6 hours later. 6 friggin' hours later. Other towns, right? Where they pew-pewed a subject who had a firearm, turned and fired at police. They showed the body-worn camera evidence a day later. And then they showed picture of the firearm taken from him, which matched and was described to have taken place. That's transparency, right? That's not what we get from Brunswick road pirate ship. Right? I've yet. So they've been wearing body worn cameras since July of 2025. Right? We've never seen any body worn camera evidence from Brunswick, Maine Police or Brunswick Town Hall at all whatsoever. None. Right? Incident after incident where they steal people's cars, money, freedom, Fourth Amendment right violations. Right? Right? Concealing documents. Conceal the evidence until it's too late in the eyes of the court. Why didn't you get this before? Well, they withheld it. Right? They withhold it beyond the 6 months if it's a rights violation. Typically 7 months. And then you can have it when it's no good to go and get them in court. You understand? That's the willful part. Willful concealment, mutilation, or falsification of public records is a felonious crime. Huh? 118 times they've done it. Well, there'll be 119 now, right? Because I just FOIA requested one more time. I will receive nothing. Lying road pirate scum. Tortured that man in custody. Refused him medical attention in handcuffs. Turned his hand blue. Permanent fucking injury. Right? I want to see Officer Day taking all his money out of his wallet. This is just enough to bail yourself out. Right? Is the officer supposed to empty your wallet for driving without a license? A victimless crime? There's no victim here. Why was he in handcuffs for so long in the first place? Why were the handcuffs so tight? Right? Right? We saw the Chile de Castro video where the officer says this is how they're supposed to go on somebody. So that you can stick one of your big fat fingers in there. Right? I've never had them put on that loose. Never. Right? 2020, I took a picture of my wrists. I think I have that on Google Photos somewhere. And that was an hour plus after having my hands out of cuffs. Right? So whoever uncuffed him, I would assume Nathan Day, but that's wrong to assume. He could have complained to some other officer in the police station. Hey, my hand's fucking turning blue. This ain't right. Need medical attention. Right? Right? This is all angered me to no end. You know, he could lose his job over the hand injury. Right? That's interference with commerce. That's another crime. Right? Take his livelihood away. You tortured one of your slaves with a 504 AD torture device. Tortured a slave. We are tax slaves. Right? Right? It's time for the slaves to rise up and remove these criminal MNFers from the town building. Right? They want to commit treason like this, hurt our people, hide the evidence, hide their electronic communications through mutilation so that we can't go and save our people from being tortured. That's what's really happening in Brunswick, Maine. Right? They encrypted the radio so that I couldn't go there and save my people from being tortured. That is a felonious crime that is happening this very minute. The evil in this town is right up in their offices, all warm and snug, while I remain homeless because of their evil, right? Only reason my wife flipped out was because of this lawsuit, right? That they're torturing me over. Tort after tort after tort. You can't have those public records because we got to mutilate them before you get to have them, right? They are absolutely torturing me, right? October 7th, video evidence was reviewed by the town manager, Kristen Collins, the town's attorney, my selectman, Abby King. They all sat up there in the office and watched it and go, I don't see a problem with this. Yeah, because the gun draws edited out. It's gone. No shouting match. Nobody's swearing. Why did Commander Paul show me Patrick Scott with no audio and say, there's too much swearing in this. You can't hear it. Your ears will bleed. Right? Why'd he do that? He was concealing the truth, mutilating the evidence, lying to my face. Right? Oh, we're going to withhold this until 2022, October 7th, so that you can't sue over excessive use of force. And you can't anyway. It has to be the person who was used for excessive use of force. But Jolene Anderson was afraid that the road pirates would hurt her friend, would retaliate and hurt him, right? She couldn't have that on her conscience. So she told the police the gun draw never happened, right? Then what was it that was so terrifying about this traffic stop that she refused to go out to the bar ever again? Right? Lisa Anderson met her July 4th, just before they showed me the video. And that's when I went home after talking to Lisa Anderson, Jolene's aunt. Wicked nice lady. She's the lobster lady. She hauls her own traps. Super good. If you ever get a chance to meet her, one of the nicest people in the whole town. Right? And these are relatives of my dear friend, Danny Bisson, who passed away in 2023. Right? This is how they operate. Deny, 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 cover up, till it's too late for anybody to do anything about it. Right? Withholding the records, mutilate them, right? Got the radio communications so that nobody knows where the road pirates are hurting people, committing felonies, crimes against humanity, beating people up for window tint and tire poke, putting their vehicles in bailment, stealing them, lying about it, writing lying tickets. Right? And the town's liable because they've trained the police. Right? I got my letters from the court. I hide nothing. Okay. We'll read. Okay. This is from Norman Hanson, Detroit, LLC, P.O. Box 4600, Portland, Maine. Certificate of Service. Benjamin Waller, hereby certified that January 2nd, 2026, I electronically filed foregoing document with the court, CMF, foregoing for Bryce Cantrell. Corey Isles pre-filing conference memorandum pursuant to the court's procedural order dated December 19, 2025. Corey Isles submits the following as his pre-conference memorandum. Defendant Isles intends to move for summary judgment as to all of plaintiff's claims against him, following the court's April 29, 2024 order, ECF NOAA 47. All claims are 42 U.S. 1983 claims for alleged First Amendment violation. Defendant intends to move for summary judgment on the basis the plaintiff cannot establish viable First Amendment claim, and defendant is also entitled to qualified immunity when it's already been removed from Corey Isles. Plaintiff's First Amendment claim against Officer Isles arises from 3 incidents. First, plaintiff alleges Corey Isles ran him for warrants for filming the Hamlin arrest and refused to identify on December 29, 2021. Second, plaintiff alleges that Corey Isles, so he commits conspiracy against my rights with Sergeant Stanton. They called the police station on their radio and wanted more backup to come and accost me on the side of the road. That was their intent, right? They ran me for warrants, and they were sending more people over. They were going to come and grab me off the sidewalk and arrest me. They were conspiring to destroy my rights. Second, Corey Isles wrote him a ticket March 9th, 2023. This is the start of stuff. Allegedly in retaliation for plaintiff filming the police. Right? That's the Victoria Elizabeth, one of my witnesses. One of my witnesses that nobody's talked to. Right? Wait till you hear what she wants to say in court. All kinds of good stuff. Brunswick police have tortured her. Some of them have treated her okay. Right? What about the welfare check 2023 that I FOIA requested for Victoria Elizabeth? Right? Officer Day went inside on a welfare check, threw her down 8 months pregnant, put his knee in the middle of her back. You don't get nothing, Mr. Cantrell. Maybe an incident report, but we're never going to give it to you. Ha 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 ha. Thanks a lot, Chief Stewart. Right? I was like, I want their side of the story. Right? Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing to do? Right? Because I'm the auditor. These people came to me and said, my rights were violated big time. Violated my Fourth Amendment right. I opened the door, saw it was the police. I'm fine. Go away. They forced the door open. Fourth Amendment violation right there. Destroyed her rights. She should sue them. Right? This was a traffic stop of Victoria Elizabeth for no license. She was getting milk for her baby and drove a mile away. The baby that was squashed by Nathan Day with his knee in the back and putting handcuffs behind her back and putting her in the police car against her will. That's a welfare check. You're supposed to make sure they're okay. Not go inside and hurt them. I'm offended. Every single citizen should be offended. Everybody should call them up and be like, hey, we'd like to see all the reports of every single one of them. And when she filed a complaint, Corey Isles ripped it up in the police station. Ripped it to shreds right in front of her. This is stupid. No, it was a welfare check. The welfare check was over when she said, I'm fine, get out of here. Right? Her and Will were having an argument. right? Check welfare, right? Epic fail of a check welfare, right? So, March 9th, 2023, my legs were hurting really, really bad, and I left work early. And upon arriving on Main Street, I stopped to figure out where my street name, where it was. I had to Google map it with my second phone and then resume recording and drive in there and park. Town Hall Place, I think, is the street. Town Hall Place, by the way, no traffic went by the entire stop, right? There's no victim of this malicious jaywalking retaliation ticket. They say it wasn't retaliation. He just wrote you a ticket for doing wrongdoing. Excuse me? There was no wrongdoing. I was entrapped. Patrick Scott said, back up, back up. Now you're in the roadway. You have to cross. And when I crossed the road, he's like, Corey Isles is going to write you a ticket now. That's conspiring and coercion against my rights. 2 felonies. They say, nope, they didn't do anything wrong. That's what the lying lawyers say. March 9 ticket, allegedly in retaliation for plaintiff filming the police. Well, what else was it for? It was a legitimate jaywalking ticket, huh? Well, jaywalking has to occur in between 2 crosswalks, right? There was a crosswalk on Main Street, right? The wrecker was preventing me from traveling on the other sidewalk towards on Town Hall Place, and there are no further crosswalks. So that means anyone can cross there at will. There's no further crosswalks. It's not jaywalking. It was an improper ticket. It was 100% in retaliation for recording police. When I walked up, Patrick Scott had left the screen up in his patrol car, and I was like, any fool with a camera can see the information, right? He's not supposed to show that information. That's private, personal information. The secured papers of Victoria Elizabeth, right? He had her address up on screen and stuff, right? That's absolutely violating her Fourth Amendment rights, right? And then the kicker, if you watch that video, the March 9th video, you can hear me making the same noises as the wrecker, right? I'm ticking like crazy, right? In my, comes out all the time. The recent one, the crash into the Atlantic Coast Regional Building, I'm ticking as I walk up. Stuff is coming out. I can't help it, right? So anyway, Patrick Scott, we were jovial even after all the times that he's failed to identify and all kinds of shit. Plus his other transgressions. 2019, January 4th, maybe 9th or 11th. I'm not sure what the exact date was. I have the incident report and the transmissions to and from police station in dispatch log for that incident in my blue El Camino with the headlight out. And I got out to fix the headlight, opened the hood, and when I put my hands on the hood to open it and fix the headlight, or attempt to, Patrick Scott drew his firearm in a felony stance, told me to get back in the vehicle, and I was like, really? For this? Right? You pulled me over for a headlight out. I'm trying to fix it. Right? You gave me a warning and said I was aggressive and a problem. It's clearly on the dispatch. Right? Good old Patrick Scott, the chicken nugget cop from the high school, who was quickly removed when he was caught emailing a female student at the school. Nope, you can't work there anymore. And now we have him on camera right after he put his hands down Sierra's pants and up under her bra. That's why Jacob Tillman got his phone out and started recording, right? And then he got tackled from behind by Joshua Bernier, smashing his face into the ground, destroying their case and evidence, assaulting people on the side of the road, which is now happening without anyone knowing about it, right? Nobody can go there and save people from the road pirates accosting them because they have encrypted radios, code color, level 7, military encryption to hide their road pirates, assaulting people, hurting people, right? This is a criminal cartel. They don't want the influx of money from people being beaten on the side of the road by Brunswick police. They don't want that money to stop, right? I'm hurting their money because if I show up and film them beating somebody on the side of the road because they can't get a drug dog and searched anyway, pissed everybody off, put their hands down her pants, fondled her genitals. Yeah. Sexual assault. Right on the side of Pleasant Street. Had to get the ambulance for Jacob. Smashed his face into the ground. His phone went skittering across the ground. Yeah. I'd like to know what officer went over there and shut his phone off. Right? He was recording. They stopped the recording. Right? That's a felony. Right? He was recording in his Fourth Amendment piece, being compliant, sitting on the ground. He didn't get up and try and interfere with Patrick Scott. All he did was get his phone out. Right? And now that kind of shit's going on in secret. Because we have secret military police destroying the rights of everybody every single day in town. Like Alex Dunton. Right? Tortured in police custody 2.5 hours. Right? SAG sheriff. What happened at Taste of Maine? Right? That guy was driving without a license, speeding, muffler was loud. The sheriffs are constitutional officers. They didn't impound his vehicle because it's stealing. They know it's stealing. They know it's wrong. Right? They didn't accost money and take their money for the profit of a criminal cartel. Evil Brunswick town office. No, we just want the money. Right? That means you got armed goons going out extorting money secretly all over town. What do you call that? Profit for a corporation, armed goons, foreign nationals in a vessel under maritime admiralty law, making war on the population of Brunswick, Maine. Right? That's legally what is happening. They are pirates. Right? The encryption proves that they are willfully withholding public records for the purpose of allowing their pirates to assault, coerce. So my live broadcast just shut off. Are they using electronic countermeasures in the Brunswick town office to stop me from recording and going live out here? Is that what's going on? Right? See, now I gave you guys public notice of treason, and you probably got that yesterday, all the lying lawyers, right? So, it's summary judgments written on this paperwork about 35 times in the 12 pages that it is here. I probably don't need to read all of it. Okay, March 11th, March 9th. March 11th, alleges Corey Isles told me to move back 25 feet or get arrested for interference. March 11th, 2023. Handicapped 60-year-old man on a public sidewalk. Prior restraint. I got to write that on. Yeah, right here. Yeah, right there. Okay. Prior restraint. Prior restraint. Right? That's an arrest. Right? He's telling me where to go, where to stand. He's arresting me. That's what that is. False arrest. I haven't done anything wrong. This is a First Amendment protected activity. Right? So that means it's deprivation of freedom of the press. So I have till March 9th, 2026 to respond to this. You give me quite a while to respond to this because I got to do it, 1, 2, 3 response and say prior restraint, deprivation of rights, freedom of the press, freedom of movement, Fourth Amendment violation. And the other prior restraint, there's two things of prior restraint, is staring into the spotlight. Right? They had me stand back behind. All of the lights are pointed at me. I can't see anything. I can't see the poor people in the traffic stop whose rights were violated. They arrested the foreign national driver, put him in handcuffs. All of his people went to the Brunswick Hotel on foot as they stole the vessel because they couldn't run the California tag. I was leaving work at 6 o'clock, and it's on the scanner, big time. California tag, we've run it about 9 different ways. We can't get any information, right? They couldn't get anything. They couldn't figure out his license, whether it was all fictitious or whatever. So I FOIA requested who were these people, any of that, and I wanted confirmation that officer that told me he was going to arrest me for a First Amendment filming, Corey Isles, because he didn't identify. Prior restraint, failure to identify as a public servant when he's violating my rights is clearly a crime. Coercion against rights. Section 42, 12203. Right? That's what he's doing. Coercing against my rights. Right? You can look that statute up. Not statute, it's the USC code. Title 18, Section 42, 12203. Right? And that's a felony. He committed a felony, violated his oath of office. He deserves not qualified immunity in any way, shape, or form. And they're like, oh yeah, he deserves it. He needs his immunity. He doesn't need any immunity if he did his job properly. Right? I walked up behind Jared Merrill and I was like, I'm back here. so I didn't frighten him. Right? Right? And this stop led to the other stop. Right? The March 11th one got me the letter. Right? The March 22nd, 2023 letter from Kristen Collins, the lying lawyer. And I told her that she needs to call the police and have herself arrested. Right? For violating my rights. I most certainly can walk down a sidewalk and record police. And you can't do squat about it. Right? Prior restraint, failure to identify, deprivation of rights of the press, Fourth Amendment violation. I have a right to be anywhere on a public sidewalk I want. The rule is 8 feet, as established in many, many places. They have the 25-foot rule in Florida, but Chuck Bronson has been way closer than that, and they won't do anything about it because they know it's an unconstitutional act as long as he's not between the officer and his work. Right? That was right at the car wash on Pleasant Street. Right? Why couldn't I take 2 steps backwards onto the property of the car wash? Right? That would have been reasonable. Then that would have been 8-10 feet away, and I could have seen what was going on. Jared Verrill didn't want me there either because he was peeling the fake tag off if it was fictitious in the first place, and they concealed the documents, mutilated everything, and refused to fill my FOIA request for that. Who were those people? What happened? Were there, you arrested the driver because you couldn't run him for wants and warrants. You don't know who the fuck he is. Right? Where's the benefit of the doubt? I'm sure he wasn't speeding or anything. Right? I bet he was driving just fine. Probably below the speed limit. Right? Oh, California tag. Gonna pull them over. Oh, Texas tag. Gonna pull them over. Lies, lies, lies. Right? I got every right to stand there on the sidewalk and not bother anybody. All I said was I'm back here. So I didn't frighten him. Right? That should have been the end of it. Corey got out of his car, comes over, get the F back by that pole. 25 feet away. That's unreasonable. Fourth Amendment allows me to approach within 8 feet. There's no way that I was interfering in any way, shape, or form. And they say I was interfering. And they say holding that the plaintiff must show absence of probable cause to proceed on the First Amendment retaliation claim. What was their probable cause? A 60-year-old handicapped man. I have ADA protection. Right? This is a violation of international law and a crime against humanity, what they did to me. Right? Jared Verrill come up, told me to shut up. You're not allowed to speak. I'm talking to my TV audience. I'm allowed to say whatever I want. What is that? The First Amendment. He took away my freedom of speech. Deprived me of my freedom of the press. Standing back so far, I couldn't see what was going on. They could have beat that man, and I wouldn't have been able to see it. Same thing they're doing right now, encrypting the radio so that I can't go and keep them from beating on people for profit of a corporation. They are pirates. They're showing up beating people up, stealing money. Oh, look, there's just enough money in this wallet.
There were a few others, but
take every dollar out of somebody's wallet.
Peel off one of the trucks that are hauling snow, get them geared up, and send them through to just scrape the whole thing out.
March 9th, 2026. As the parties conferred on December 31st, 2025, the parties were unable to reach an agreement because I said, you're all liars. I want nothing to do with any of you ever again. I refuse to talk to you because you lie. Bar Rule 3.4, 3.5, non-disclosure of fraud, knowingly not saying to the judge, all of our evidence is fraudulent, without timestamp, incorrect, lies, mutilated, felony after felony. Fraud destroys their entire case.
Would you let him know?
Right? Watch guard camera system information. Hugging the emu. Woo! Yep. That's right on there the next day. Right? So I happen to know that the Alex one, there's no investigation. Nothing is happening in it. And if they don't provide any FOIA, I want to see what their excuse is. Right? Yeah. Slow connection. This thing's going to shut right down, isn't it? All right. Well, it's Harpsel tone test, right? Okay. Go to this one. All right. I got notes on the next pages. This is the October 7th. Christopher Wallongvik arrived to provide support. Driving a truck pulled into the lot across the street from the traffic stop, believing the plaintiff may have been a relative of one of the vehicle's passengers there to pick them up. Officer Fitzpatrick approached Bryce Cantrell, plaintiff, and asked for ID and asked if he knew the people. No, he demanded ID and said it was a lawful order, and if I didn't produce it, he was going to arrest me. But that's not in there. They lied and removed that. Right? Once plaintiff explained he was there to record the police conducting their duties, Officer Fitzpatrick returned his ID. No, it's a Fourth Amendment violation. He demanded ID. Coercion against rights. Section 42, 12203. That's exactly what I'm going to write there as a response to that. Right? He knowingly violated my rights, violated his oath of office, demanding from a person recording. The first thing I said, I'm recording this. He doesn't need my ID. That's an ID refusal because I traveled my Fourth Amendment piece and was over there recording. Leave me alone. Go away. You need nothing. Why did he end up with my ID? Because he threatened me. They removed the threatening. It's modified. Felonious modification, mutilation of a public record. Right? Then there's no evidence of the gun draw. No shit. No effing poop. Right? There's no, I FOIA requested every bit of video of me in the police station, the confrontation, the dropping off the complaint. Nope, none of that exists. There's cameras all over the inside of that building. I don't believe that for a second. Right? They destroyed all those records because I'm right. And they're a bunch of lying sacks of poop. Right? Right. Chief Stewart agreed to show plaintiff the dash camera footage from October 7th that was edited in the police station. Right? Jolene Anderson Wessel does not want to go to court, will not say that it was gun draw because she's afraid of retaliation. That's coercion against rights. She did an ID refusal and they demanded ID from her. She was recording. She refused to give me that, unfortunately. Please come forward, Jolene, and hopefully you still have that on Google Photo or something. That would be really awesome, right? Because they violated the shit out of your rights, too. You have to identify. They lied to me and said it was state law I had to identify. That is not in the recording. Andrew Fitzpatrick said it was state law I have to identify. It's not a traffic stop. I'm recording police, right? Like I said, it's coercion against rights. He committed a felony. Multiple felonies. Right? Stood in the way of the recording. Spotlighted my camera. 3-4 inches from it. September 11th, 2021, Officer Barrel and Officer Bernier observing Anthony Alvarez driving without headlight illumination. Bernier initiated a traffic stop. He did 25. The plaintiff parked his vehicle at a private business parking lot and began recording the traffic stop from across the street using what they later learned was a tripod. They had no idea what I was using. Yet, I have a video where they immediately said, oh my God, there's a guy with a tripod over there. That was afterwards. This was my first all-nighter. And I needed the tripod because of my shoulder injuries and my knee injuries from the car accident, September 4th, 2021. Right? This is September 11th. 2021, the wife was at a party until 1 o'clock, and I had my scanner going, and I went all night, 7 hours of auditing all over town, filmed 4 OUIs or something like that. One guy passed, I think it was 3 OUIs. One guy passed, 2 people failed. I thought Anthony Alvarez did well on the test. The shocking part was, and they claim, Jared Verrill took my picture with his personal phone, and that I yelled, I want that. I'm going to FOIA request that. And Bernier took that as me interfering. No, that guy took my picture. I want that. I FOIA requested it. I FOIA requested all the dash camera footage from all 4 police cars. O'Connor, the supervisor's police car, because I confronted him about what happened at the stop. All the spotlighting, which was prior restraint. Coercion against rights. Calling for backup. Called for the supervisor because I was recording. The supervisor spotlighted me for 10 minutes. Why was he doing that? To identify what's something that Bernier already identified in the first 1.5-minute video where they threw me out of the traffic stop and I had to go to an open business, the laundromat, and park and walk back down there with my painful, crippled leg. Right? Coercion against rights. You treated me unfairly. It's wrong. Jared Valler's defied me on being able to speak to my TV audience, telling me to shut up multiple times. Behind the theater, right over here by the warming shelter, told me to shut up. No, I'm talking to my TV audience. Right? So I've written there, Fourth Amendment violation. Chief Stewart agreed to show plaintiff dash camera footage October 7th. Right? It doesn't say anything about, I asked, what statute is that? Because they stopped me from recording in the police station. You can't record inside the police station. Well, what statute is that? I asked him. Just as I'm turning my camera off. Right? What statute? He had no idea. No, you can't do it. You can't record this evidence. Yeah, I can. Right? The case was over. Right? May 7th, he was convicted of the OUI. Case is over. Why can't I have it now? I had to go and confront. Judy Bean told me that Andrew Fitzpatrick's report was modified by Commander Paul, removing me from his entire report. Right? Mutilation, there it is, that's a felony. They mutilated his report to conceal the fact he violated my rights. Over and over again. You see how many times this happens in all of this? And they're like, nope, they didn't do anything wrong. We investigated ourselves, found nothing wrong. Then we investigated ourselves again and did nothing wrong. Yeah. September 11th, 2021, after observing a vehicle traveling, headlights illuminated. Yeah. Took my picture. Is that a personal phone? I want a FOIA request. That camera picture of me. Right? Never provided. Right? Where's that FOIA? Where's the FOIA for all the dash camera footage? I got none. All I got was one stinking report for $150 by Bernier, and that's missing the part where he, right in here, where he tells me I got to go move my truck or it gets towed. They threatened to take my vehicle. Threatening, coercion against rights. Threatened to tow my vehicle for parking. Right? So if I'd have parked on the side of the road, they would have threatened to tow my vehicle for parking on the side of the road. Now you're obstructing traffic. Right? Doesn't matter. There was no traffic, hardly. I think 2 cars went by in the whole traffic stop. Took my picture. FOIA request not filled. Another count of road pirates hiding the truth. Evil, evil, evil men. Right, this is page 884 of their response to me. Right, I've sent in, I think, 1,200 pages of documents. All ignored. Thumb drive ignored. Right? And that had, okay, the Officer Huber, November 27th, 2022. No, that's the Union Street one. Okay, the other one is here. Officer Wilson was conducting, Officer Huber and Wilson was conducting a traffic stop on Route 123. Officer Huber was also on the scene. Plaintiff arrived shortly after the traffic stop and began to walk over to the vehicle that had been pulled over. I was 25 feet away. Never got any closer. They were told to back up, so he did not interfere. I'm standing on the public way. It's 12 feet from the fog line. Stand on the grass on the side of the road so as not to be in the roadway and interfere in any way, shape, or form. Prior restraint, section 42, 12203 violation, spotlighted me with his flashlight, told me to go away, told me to shut up, told me to move on, told me to walk home. That was my first approach with an e-scooter. Surprise! Yep. Presence made the civilians in the vehicle uncomfortable and agitated. They're getting a headlight ticket. A racketeering headlight ticket for no crime, and they wanted to search the vehicle. Searchy, searchy, search. Fourth Amendment violation for a headlight out. They were escalating the stop. And then they called for backup. Backup showed up. So calling for backup is conspiracy against rights, right? I got that on camera I don't know how many times. When Johnny Mickles on Pleasant Street, when they arrested the guy for OUI, Johnny Mickles was a passenger, and when he got out, he flipped them all off, screamed in their faces multiple times, double flipped them off, and I was telling him, stay in the driveway, because you step out onto the street and they're going to arrest you for disorderly conduct. Right? Jaywalking and shit like that. They are pirates. Yeah, they said, plaintiff continued recording the stop until officers completed the stop and the civilians drove away. They called for backup. Conspiracy against my Fourth Amendment right to travel and to stop wherever I please. Techie Lines versus Danforth. And that's what I'm going to write in the response to this. July 2nd, 2022. Officer Huber. Right? Officer Wilson. Wilson didn't say anything that I recall. I think he said, they don't want you to record either. Or he might have said something like that. That does not matter. And that's what they say in here. Bryce said, doesn't matter. Zach Perry. Okay. Anyway, I got a message from him. There we go. Chief Stewart, Brunswick's then town manager, John Eldridge, lying John Eldridge, who defied my First Amendment rights to record him because he's a liar. We're having a closed-door meeting in Brunswick Town Hall. Plaintiff walked up to the glass door in the room with Scott Stewart and the town manager and then loudly yelled, "Fuck you, Chief Stewart," and double flipped him off. Or single, because I was holding the camera in the other hand. Chief Stewart exited the room and gave me a disorderly conduct warning. I asked, where is the FOIA request for Nathan Day assaulting me? Where is it? You effing liar. Right? Because you gave me the exonerated letter for Officer Day assaulting me when he had no business laying his hands on me at all and could have mailed me the summons. He came over on the highway with the intent to assault me. That's why there's no audio in his police car, because he was spouting off and yelling he's going to beat the living shit out of me and stuff. That's why there's no audio in there. You liars. Right? This is how they lie. Right? If I had some highfalutin lawyer, I could get that complete video, right? Where he goes 110 on the highway in our taxpayer-funded police car, endangering the lives of hundreds of people for someone he shouted my name. Get off the highway, Bryce. My daughter is a frickin' witness. She heard that and then heard him handcuffing me. Oh, one in custody. Oh no, they handcuffed him behind his back. He's in agony. I gotta call the police station right friggin' now. Right? Where's her calling the police station? Where's that? That's not in their evidence. Right? It's in mine. Right? So, that proves that they modified and mutilated in a felonious manner the dash camera evidence from June 23rd, 2023, Officer Day assaulting me. He came over angry, wanted to assault me, demanding ID from someone who he said my name. Right? That's why they don't want that in the evidence. Because he said my name. Bryce, get off the highway. To which I complied. No further problem. Common law applies. I'm on foot. It's not a traffic stop. He doesn't need ID in the first place. Right? He knows my name. He can write me a summons. Corey Isles didn't get my ID to write me the jaywalking ticket. Right? Why did Nathan Day need to have that? He took my wallet right out of my pocket. The whole thing. Right? Could he have stolen money and opened that? Well, there's just enough money in here for bailment. Oh, there's about $375 in there. Right? Would that have been just enough money for bailment? Right? Then Christopher Longvick shows up, and I'm out of cuffs. And I start recording. And that finishing video is up on YouTube. I have every CD from that and the March 10th at Advanced Auto Parts, where they left a guy on the ground 40 minutes in handcuffs while we all stood there pleading for them to take the handcuffs off. That guy couldn't have run 10 feet. Fat, out of shape, in horrible health, right? And you got these big, strong road pirates. I think there was 4 of them or 5 of them that all showed up. That guy couldn't have gone 5 feet without getting tackled by one of them. Right? And that again, Christopher, when he showed up as the supervisor, appeared behind me as I was spouting off and saying all my stuff. Ready to grab me up. That's one of the longest audits I ever did. 1 hour and 15 minutes. Right? They were there 1 hour and 30 minutes. Where the evidence to do the search and the drug dog search was cigarette ash on the seat. That was their probable cause to get a drug dog. Right? And that little skinny girl, right, was bebopping all around, no handcuffs, wandering all around, eating popsicles out of the back of the vehicle, while this guy is suffering on the ground in handcuffs because he defended his rights. I know, Pennsylvania versus Mims, he has to get out of the car. They ask you to get out of the car. What you do is you lock the friggin' doors. Then that's Fourth Amendment protected. They can't open that. That's what you do. Yep, they can make you get out. But if they make you get out, you can leave all your possessions in the car, lock the door, and they can't open it. Right? I just posted that video. Everybody should watch that to know how to do that. Getting cold again. Sucks being homeless in January. While Officer Huber was conducting a traffic stop, November, on Union Street, right here. Now, the guy was from Massachusetts, driving a BMW, and he crashed straight into the building, went straight through the stop sign, crashed. He didn't want me there. Huber, yeah, it says it's Huber. Officer Huber, Union Street, right? My recording stopped right when he said, "I'm going to arrest you if you don't get back further." I was across the street, 50 feet away, and he was threatening me with arrest, and I failed to record for that 1 minute. There's 2 sections of that, and the only part I was missing, and I was like, FOIA requested the missing minute, right? FOIA requested that several times. This is an opportunity, Scott Stewart, for you to be accountable and to show your officer threatening me with arrest 50 feet away from the traffic stop. Right? Across the street. Because they were doing it in the parking lot right here. right over here, where that red car is where they were doing sobriety tests. And the guy was failing big time. And he's like, oh, I got a head injury, hit my head, I can't do sobriety tests. Yeah. Something was wrong with that guy. I mean, I didn't have a problem with any of that. I just wanted to film it. So that was deprivation of rights, threatening arrest, section 42, 12203, felony, threatening me with arrest. I didn't do anything wrong, right? Where's the probable cause to threaten me with arrest? Do they want to provide that bit of evidence? No, they mutilated it, right? Because I can't have it. Concealment. That's concealment. That's a felony, right? USC code 2071. Lies, 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 yeah. And the town manager in the closed meeting warned me for disorderly conduct for F you. And then after that, when he came out, check this out. Right, in the hallway when there's nobody else around, right? I said, he made some snide comment to me. I got the whole video. Right? He made some snide comment, and I was like, you're an effing liar. Again. Because he is a liar. Won't provide the dash camera evidence of an officer assaulting me. I'd say that that's a liar. Right? Willful concealment. Felony. Felonious. Covering up what his officer did to me. Right? And they're still doing it. All the evidence is fake. Fraud. Fraud upon the court. Never told the judge. Right? I'm not making any agreement with lying, fraudulent lawyers who won't tell the judge everything we gave Mr. Cantrell is a lying fraud. Non-disclosure of fraud upon the court. They're supposed to do it immediately. If they don't do it immediately, that's it. Right? Fraud vitiates the entire case. Everything they gave me is fraudulent. None of this matters. Coercion against rights violation. Section 42, 12203. Failure to identify. Because he threatened me with a disorderly conduct ticket. And then he's like, no, I will arrest you. He's threatening arrest. That's coercion against rights because I'm recording him. Right? Nope, there's nothing wrong here. Right? Plaintiff continues his disorderly conduct. That's what they say. No, when he threatened me with arrest, I was good. Yep, he just committed a felony threatening me with arrest. All I've done, because, what? Guess what? Disorderly conduct in the first district is null and void. It's repugnant to the Constitution. I can, too, redress lying government and call them effing liars when they are effing liars. This is an effing lie. This entire case, everything they've written here. Summary of legal arguments. Right? Objective evidence that he or she was arrested when similarly situated individuals not engaged in protected conduct had not been. Everything I do is protected activity. I'm holding a camera. I am the press. The press is showing up to redress lying government in the town hall. I have every right to do it. I have every right to say what I said yesterday to the town official. Right? Because I can't go, due to my employment, I can't go to the town meetings and have my 3 minutes. Right? Or I'd been doing it all along. Right? So I can't exercise my rights. So I get to say it over the phone. Right? Holding a right to film at traffic stop may be limited. It's C. Garrick versus Bennigan. 753F3D 1-7, First Circuit, 2014. And they are trying to limit my access to a public sidewalk. None of this says anything about my ADA accommodations, right? Which is a violation of international law to tell me anything. I have more right to that sidewalk than anybody in this building because I'm handicapped. They can't tell me to get off the sidewalk because I'm handicapped. Violation of international law. ADA requirements. ADA requests. None have been given to me in court. Asked for a cart machine, translated so they can be easily read by laymen, not in Latin or anything stupid legalese, bull stuff. Right? Now I sent them my binding precedent was for a guy that was arrested for 3 hours for recording police on a public sidewalk, wiretap fraud, all the things that they threatened me with in the March 22nd letter. Right? Perfectly relevant, perfect binding precedent, our district, right? Nope, don't recognize that, Mr. Cantrell. And then the March 9th, Victoria Elizabeth, ticket in retaliation. Corey Isles used emergency lights to write me the ticket. Did not demand ID. Refused to answer any questions about the Courtney Mickles incident where he assaulted one of my auditors, Courtney Mickles, right? Because they posted on my page, they are a reporter for Accountability Now, right? That video was taken down twice, I believe, right? Showed Corey Isles beating Kevin Smith on the side of the road, failure ID. Kevin Smith has a recording from being in the truck where he was dragged out of the vehicle for it. Nope, we have to have your ID. If you don't answer, we're dragging you out of this truck, beating you up and arresting you. Right? That was all thrown out of court, and they are suing them too. All right. All right. Well, the phone battery just dropped out on this. This one is the damaged phone from June 23rd, 2020. And the battery requires constant maintenance to keep it charged. It's dropped out on me several times. I have to carry a spare battery for it. Not a changeable battery. It was so overheated I couldn't use it for 30 minutes. I had to rely on a backup camera, go in the police station, get a complaint. Right? Terrified they were going to come out and assault me just for asking for a complaint. So it's a Dubert Kumo motion, and defendants do not plan to file any of that. I gotta look that up. I don't understand that. This is legalese shit. Alright, I'm gonna take a break, guys. Thanks for watching, George. Tom Frazier. I'm doing all I can. I'm one man fighting town officials, highfalutin lawyers, liars, British Bar Association, criminals operating on our soil, right? With the intent and purpose to conceal the facts in these cases, hiding crucial and critical evidence that I've repeatedly exposed these facts, that they are hiding all this stuff. My witnesses can expose all these facts. Victoria Elizabeth, Macy, my daughter, she has been with me while I've recorded multiple times in 2023, right? Furthermore, they've all watched it and we're listening on the scanner to all of this, right? They can testify to all of these items because they've all seen it, right? There are now 4,000 people on here. There are 600,000 people who saw the Corey Isles Hamlet arrest, where he threatened me and ran me for wants and warrants. Chief Stewart told them, do not talk to him. Right? They conspired against my rights. We're calling multiple backup. I had to flee for my own safety. That is part of the recording that I have, is them threatening backup. You could hear it. They were coming in force. Multiple officers on their way to come arrest and assault me for talking to my TV audience in a loud voice. Can't help it. This is how I talk. Right? The pure evil that we are enduring. End encryption right now, you freaking liars. You are covering it up so that you may assault, coerce, and destroy people's rights in a felonious manner. You're all committing felonies every single day, hiding your piss-poor police work. Right? That's why you wanted encryption, to destroy people's lives, steal their vessels for profit. You are pirates, just as I have said, right? This entire building and everybody in it that works for the town is committing arming and serving aboard privateers. They are giving the guns to the officers, their body armor, the armored car, all of that, to destroy our population and steal their money. Patrolling without purpose is pirates ashore, because they're foreign nationals under the Bar Association. They have those numbers, right? That's how they all work. Maritime Admiralty law, at war with the population, warring on us with war rants to destroy our lives, take money for profit of a corporation. Those are the key factors when it's a corporation. The town is a corporation. Brunswick Police is a corporation, right? They're all corporate entities, right? But we are living ones of the people, right? That's who they say their oath to, right? Everything they do is a violation of their oath of office. They deserve no qualified immunity, right? Yep. Fraud destroys everything. Fraud vivitates everything. You have destroyed your entire case with fraud, lies, never said to the judge. The judge has shouted sanctions, you're incomprehensible, provided zero help, has not quoted the Constitution at all. ADR court, administrative law signed in by Joe Biden in 1990 to destroy our rights and plunder us under Maritime Admiralty law. and ignore our rights in court. But I've enacted common law. I'm on foot, exercising my rights, and I have clean hands. They say I have dirty hands, right? And approach these people with the intent to, catch them doing a violation. Yes, that's it. So we all agree that the problem is the police, right? That's what I'm doing. That's the intent and purpose of First Amendment filming under the First Amendment, to broadcast freedom of speech, free press that shall not be infringed, telling me where to go, where to stand, prior restraint. It's the next step is an arrest, right? That's coercion against rights, a felony, section 12203, right? Felony. Every time they open their frickin' mouth, when I didn't say anything, I'm talking to my TV audience. I can say whatever I want. I can talk to the people in the car. I can talk to anybody I want, as long as I don't get between the officer and his work. I have to physically get in between him and his work, right? If he's trying to get in the window and I slide in between there and start talking to the guy, that's interference. I'm getting in between there. Obstruction. Yeah, I'm not stupid, right? I stay on the public easement, 12 feet from the fog line, through most of the town. Any named street is a public street. All right, guys, I'm out.